There's a lot of idiotic claims that the Coalition make that annoy me. The one that keeps popping up annually is taking credit for the increase in superannuation payments on April 1. And this year, annual increases in benefits are being used as an excuse for the Coalition to not offer any extra assistance to people receiving a benefit and not getting a Working for Families tax credit. A big increase, according to the Prime Minister. Actually, he called it a big increase on breakfast and then very quickly in the same sentence changed it to a good increase. I guess it's another case of the Coalition finding out that size does matter for some people. So, a few quick fact checks here. Firstly, the super payment is actually set down under a 2001 law which sets the annual increase rate to a wage floor. Basically, super goes up based on whether CPI inflation or wage growth, essentially which one is higher, is used to calculate the increase to make sure that the pension is keeping up with the cost of living, and it's 66% of the net average wage. No political party controls it, no political party can cancel it without changing the law, and no political party should be trying to tell seniors that they're getting more money this year because of them. Right, National? Then there's the benefit changes. On April 1, benefits will increase 2.25% based on CPI, consumer inflation rates. In 2024, under urgency, because, nothing makes them feel better than punching down on beneficiaries to make savings as quickly as possible, the Coalition changed how benefits were indexed. Unlike super, there is no 66% wage floor for benefits, so there's no legal reason to increase them at a rate consistent to cost of living, just a moral one, which we are well aware is not the strong point of the Coalition. The benefits were increased annually based on wage growth, but were changed to be based on inflation, which was dropping as post-COVID normalcy returned to the world's economies and supply chains, and not because Nicola was fixing the economy, again, like National would have us believe. This year's wages are growing faster than inflation, but even then, wage growth was slowed down over the past 3 years. In 2023, wage growth sat at 7.6% due to labour shortages and a huge wave of resignations causing private sector pay hikes. In 2025, wage growth was down to 4.3% as unemployment rose to record high levels and minimum wage increases have been suppressed by the Coalition. And then in 2026, projected wage growth is going to be around 3.5%, but economists are already predicting CPI on the 21st of April to be well over that 4% mark, with the fuel crisis driving up prices. So while everything goes up, the benefit growth is not matching the price increases, making things a lot harder for those reliant on benefits. But it might lead to a bigger jump in 2027. So I guess just don't eat chocolate biscuits until then, which is this weird thing that conservatives tell beneficiaries to spend less on as though they're trying to prove some kind of point. But what would beneficiaries be getting on April 1 if that indexing hadn't changed? Well, I ran some numbers, and to be fair, the results still aren't great. On April 1 this year, a single person over 25 on JobSeeker will get an extra $8 a week in their benefit under the current change. Under the previous indexation rate, they'd see an increase on April 1 of $13.40 or an extra $280 in their hand every year. To give that some context, the lowest ever minimum wage increase also kicks off on April 1 of 45 cents an hour. This would net someone working full-time on minimum wage an extra $18 a week, or the same as the people on super are going to get on April 1st. Now, the whole point of re-indexing was firstly because punching down on people needing our safety nets is cool when you're entitled and think the country needs a CEO instead of a Prime Minister. And for some, they've openly said that cruelty is actually the point and see it as tough love for people on benefits. But that's also backfiring because the economy is so fried. We have record levels of unemployment right now, which means our overall cost of benefits is higher than we've seen in a long time. Back in 2023, Treasury actually provided modelling based on the plans then for future economic recovery. Those, of course, got binned when Nicola became finance minister and fixed the economy. But compared to those projections, we now have 65,000 more people receiving a main benefit, with 50,000 more being on JobSeeker specifically than the 2023 Treasury projections said that we would if we'd stayed the course back then. That increases our beneficiary costs, excluding super, by about $1.2 billion annually, while those changes to indexing save the current government about $110 million a year. The sheer volume of people needing assistance in some way, because of the geniuses who made financial decisions like cancelling the ferry projects without a backup plan, setting up road cone hotlines, giving tobacco company kickbacks, and forking out useless boot camps for kids that shat the bed so hard their savings because of re-indexing are totally wiped out by the volume of people now needing that help. And tomorrow their average increase under both indexing models or The one used for super are still significantly lower than the $50 a week targeted financial help going to get those getting tax credits. And none of it is going to keep pace with the influx of cost increases we're about to be hit with as fuel prices soar and CPI goes up. God, I hate these ones with numbers. The difference between what people get on a benefit of any kind and the actual cost of living is already huge, and that gap has been increasing for the last decade and a half. This graph here shows a comparison. The top green line is the living wage, the amount calculated you need to earn each week to cover the costs of all essentials. The minimum wage is $200 a week lower than that, shown here in orange. The pension is just under half the living wage, seen here in purple. The solo parent support payment, which includes parents who can't work for whatever reason, so have to support themselves and at least one child, is lower than the pension, and the job seeker benefit is a third of the rate of the living wage, seen here in blue. The safety net systems that we have are clearly nets full of rips and tears and not designed to catch much of anything without causing damage on the way. So this week, when politicians in the coalition or political parties pat themselves on the back and take credit for helping the poor and senior citizens and use that so-called help as an excuse to block them from further support to get through the crisis period, remember to give them exactly the credit that they deserve. And you can show your appreciation on November 7, as long as you're enrolled for early voting before the early voting period begins. Oh, hey there, podcast listeners. Thanks for checking out today's podcast, whether that's on video or audio. I really appreciate it. And I did finally get around to doing a podcast end tag, which I've been meaning to do for a while instead of just taking you onto the Facebook version. So while you're here, why not hit that subscribe button so that you can get updates coming in directly every time there's a new episode uploaded. Just seems like a really simple way to keep up to date with all of the crazy that's going on. So yeah, give that a shot and I'll talk to you soon.